I enjoy being on the front lines of saving lives, and my faith Islam inspired my career.
Welcome to our Impact Radio Talk Show. And at this point, can you announce who just joined on the show?
I think so. My name is Sultan Ahmad.
And Dr. Sultan Ahmad, thank you so much.
Assalamu
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you so much. And here on our Chief Operation of Million Muslim March and our host tonight is Hodge. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Sorry I'm late.
Those who just joined a little bit later, this is tonight our agenda. We will be discussing 4 topics. Number 1, Muslim community and socio-political involvement. Number 2, theology and the politics, how they interact each other. Number 3, Million Muslim March press conference on January the 10th at the Ground Zero of New York City. Thank you, Isa Hodge.
Okay. So basically, what we'll be speaking about tonight, one of the 4 topics that I'm interested in actually talking about is how does politics and religion mix?
Right, that's one of the topics. If you want to pick on that, that's fine. Theology and politics, and how that could be integrated to our social life, balancing the both together.
Right, and this is a topic that I'm always quite interested in, simply because the fact that our country was not founded on any specific religion. It was actually founded off of some principles of religion. It was founded off the very foundation and principle of democracy is actually, ideas came from religion. Islam is one of them. Thomas Jefferson was known to own a Quran and taught himself to read Arabic. And for those of us that are Muslims that know the Constitution, we can actually see, and I'm going to say a scary word here for the non-Muslim, you can actually see Sharia law in the Constitution itself. Now, of course, Sharia law is different than the definition that the media wants to portray it as. Sharia law is just laws that God gives us in order to govern our lives. This concerns everything from how we walk into a restroom, how we eat, how we deal with justice, how we deal with prayer. I mean, every aspect of our life is really what Sharia law is. It's just about crime and punishment. Kind of similar to the Ten Commandments, different more depth than that. But the interesting thing about true democracy is that really religion plays no role in it at all. In fact, it opens the door, a very foundation of democracy opens the door for us to be any religion or no religion at all. That politicians, after the founding fathers, have consistently tried to push religion into laws. They try to squeeze Christianity into democracy. And unfortunately, the two they don't fit. They just don't fit because the Constitution at the very foundation of our democracy is based on their own life and living under the tyranny in England, under a monarchy, the creation of our country, as well as different religions, for that matter, and what is morally right and what is morally wrong, and what every man and woman should be able to attain in their life in a democratic society. So I think that, like right now, and that always has been, this argument over abortion and this argument over gay rights and this argument over all these things that they're constantly trying to distract us with, and with their constant wasting of our tax dollars. If our politicians would actually start to look at the Constitution and the very foundation of what makes us a democratic society.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is Impact Radio, and you are listening our Chief Operation for Million Muslim March, Isa Hodge. We are discussing the political integration with the theological interaction. So we have Dr. Sultan Ahmad, and we have Rabbi al-Soch, and we have our Chief Operation Isa Hodge. So I like to ask Dr. Sultan Ahmed this question, and whoever listening and whoever will be listening later on, like as you on your personal perspective, this takes like experience and the time. I know you are a retired university professor, and by looking at your religious, of course you will be talking about that on your religious point of view, but by looking at your individual inter kind of proceeding, that what would be your point of view, Dr. Sultan Ahmed?
See, actually, if you, the first Indian constitution was given by our Prophet ﷺ, that is known as the Medina Charter, more than 400 years ago. And compare it with the US constitution, I don't find much difference. They are the same in the US constitution and in the Medina Charter. And if you look at how to deal with your people who are working under you, how to treat with them. So all the human qualities are embedded in Medina Sharia and in Islam. Thank you. I will continue later.
Thank you, Dr. Sultan Ahmed, and this is MD Alam, and you are listening Ampac Radio, the community talk show. Our host is Hodge, and Million Muslim March Chief Operation, as because this is American Muslim Political Action Committee, and we are here to take a key role responsible to educate our community and helping the Muslim Ummah to be in the right approach in the political process.
My original point was that there should be a separation between religion and politics. Yes, religion will help shape a politician's way that they would vote on something, but the problem is when politicians are creating, as they have, like I was saying about the Republicans and the Democrats, for example, brought down so much of the legislative process because we're constantly trying to, and in this case in America, they're constantly trying to cram in Christian ideology into democracy and the legislation of laws, and it's and abortion rights and marriage and I mean it's just like a never-ending Groundhog Day where every year we're fighting over the same subject. And the thing that irritates me the most is that the founding fathers who created the democracy and the Constitution, they purposefully kept religion out of it. Yeah, religion played a role in the writing of some of the laws and the voting of the ways, depending upon what the religion is, but that's ultimately the purpose. And Dr. Abdullah brings up a very good point of Muhammad SAW when he was in Medina. Muslims are only 20% of the population, yet the laws that he created were, and that he didn't create, that Allah gave to him to have created for that, was to help to govern a society that had a multitude of lifestyles and religious opinions and all of these things. And a lot of the very foundation of this country is based off of those very same laws that he created in Medina, over 1,400 years ago. And so I think that it's important for us as Muslims who are now going to start getting involved in politics and things of that nature that we stay focused and bringing a separation between politics and religion, and because you have so many different people in this country that have so many different religions or no religion at all, and they just believe on living this life is the only life they're going to get. And you create laws that are morally founded in common sense what is human rights and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. That's our Constitution. That's our Bill of Rights. I mean, it's based upon what is common sense and what is inalienable for every human being, regardless of where they come from, what they do, how they do it, what they worship, regardless, that they have these certain inalienable rights. And start to get our politicians away from all this infighting over moral things, over religious issues. That's frankly none of my business and none of their business.
Thank you so much. That was Hodge, and this is Ampac Radio, weekly community conversation, and we are discussing a little bit about the theology and the politics, the fine line between those two, but we can move on. And as for one of our topics that we will discuss, Muslim community and socio-political involvement, which is very important because a balanced citizenship, takes place and have a huge role in our society. So when different Muslim community living in East Coast, West Coast, deep Midwest and deep South, how those Muslim community can be interacting and taking a great stand while there is a political involvement, the issue, and that is helping to the government, or helping the different process that helpful towards the community and citizens at large. So this is a question that somebody can take on. What I know that we are discussing and going back in a circle, but at the same time, what would be our kind of year excuse me New Year kind of resolution type beside our Million Muslim March, educating the community, but what would be a core responsibility that Muslim community and socio-political involvement, uh, type beside the Million Muslim March, and that we can spread that great message about 9/11/13.
Or remind all those actively listening now and that will listen in the future. Number one, the most important thing that we're trying to do, and which is the linchpin, is the most important part of this entire AMPAC program and organization, is that we are fighting for the rights, civil rights, and freedoms for Muslims in America. And in turn, because we're doing this, we're hoping and going to be working on and trying to enlighten and open the eyes of the general American and get the rest of our fellow citizens to get them to understand that there has been a humongous lie, hoax, they've been bamboozled, they've run amok, okay, they've been lied to, not blatantly by straight out saying, because you won't find any politician or anybody in the media that just flat out said that all Muslims are terrorists. No, they've been doing it very, very subtly since 9/11. First they planted the seed that it was Islamic extremists. I mean, this very word, these two words put together in the same sentence, is an oxymoron. They do not belong together. You cannot be an Islamic extremist. The two words do not go together in any language, whether it's English or Bangladeshi or Arabic or whatever. The two words cannot go together, for those of us who understand what the word Islam really means. But the thing to remember is that they have been slowly implementing this idea that based off of 9/11, that since 9/11, and because of 9/11, and because the alleged planners of 9/11 were by their own accord an Islamic state or Muslim, they have slowly but strongly inundated into the American mind through media, through news, through TV, through movies, through music, through all of these different things, that it is the religion of Islam that warrants it, orders it, commands it, and it is Muslims who are robots who just blindly follow and commit suicide and do all these kinds of things that they say terrorists do. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the American people to wake up and understand. Now, the only way that they can do that is first, they have to see us as exactly what we are. We're victims. We're the new minorities that are being victimized by being painted a villain. And the only way that we do that is if we as Muslims can band together and march and show them that we're Muslim, we're Americans, we're here, and we're going to show the American people something that they have forgotten, that we are banning and exercising our rights of civil of assembly, freedom of speech, and we're demanding protections. We're demanding laws that protect us as Muslims in this country. We're demanding, the second thing that we're demanding is because this is the biggest thing that has affected Americans, period, Muslim or non-Muslim, doesn't matter, is the fact that our president got a second term. He got his first term based off the fact that he made promises to us as a people that he would make us, or he would help us to trust our government again by making it transparent. I'm getting rid of the lobbyists, getting rid of special interests, getting rid of corporate America, controlling the politicians and the legislation. These are his promises from his first election. He even touched on the second election. We are 4 years and some odd months into his presidency, and we still do not have any of those things. Lastly, and I do mean last, we are asking for the release of the full 9/11 Commission, not the blacked out version, not the version, the children's version, because the government thinks that us as Americans aren't grown up enough to read those words, because, all those words that they blacked out, us as Americans, we're just too much of a child. That's too dangerous for us to see. To actually allow us to have the information, because the way I look at it is if I have to continue to pay taxes, and now, thanks to the whole fiscal cliff arrangement, now I got to pay 2% more to federal, which that's a whole other topic that I'm not able to discuss tonight. I'm going to actually discuss that on my show. But I got to pay more taxes, and I'm going to continue to allow my money to be shipped outside the United States. And I have a right to know why. Why are we spending trillions of dollars? These terrorist organizations, we need to see the proof. You don't walk into a store to purchase a brand new car without seeing the facts, everything that it can do, how many horsepower, how many miles per gallon do I get with it, how many cubic feet do I have inside the interior. Let me take it on the road and let me test drive it. Let me see if it's got everything that I need for it before I shell out $20 or $30 or $50,000 for this vehicle. Everything that we purchase, we have a right to check on. We have a right to see everything that's under the hood, everything that it's made of, everything. But yet, we're being asked to continue to trust the government that has already been proven a liar in the Iraqi war for its weapons of mass destruction, and the thousands of lives lost there in Iraq by civilians, and the hundreds of lives lost by American soldiers, and now we have to pay more taxes for them to start even more wars and chase down more Al-Qaedas and more Osama bin Laden and all the other terrorist organizations that they want us to believe in. This is something that the American people need to wake up and start asking and start looking. We have a right to know where our money is being spent. We have a right to know why our money is being spent that way. So first and foremost, remember all of us that are in this impact that we are doing this for the civil rights, for us as Muslims to have the same civil liberties and the same freedoms as every other religion in this country does. That we have a right that our name and our religion and everything about our faith is no longer slandered or libel things are being printed about us. We have a right to this. We have a right that we don't have to go to Chicago and see that us as people, us as Muslims are barbarians, uncivilized. Or in the subways in New York, and we don't have to have these Quran days and all this other stuff that these organizations and this government allows and that the media loves to put on 24 hours a news, every minute, on the hour, every single day. And the problem, and I just want to share one last thing with just back onto the original topic there about the religion and politics mixing. This is a prime example of politics and religion mixing. Because they have created a war between all of these Christians that run the government, the politics, against Muslims. How is that making this a country of bring me you're tired, you're weary, you're weak? How is this making this the land of opportunity? How is that making it so that every American citizen has the inalienable right for the pursuit of happiness? This is no wonder for us as Muslims in this country why it's so hard for any of us to speak up. Why it's so hard for any of them to get involved in politics. Why it's so hard for them to actually stand up and back us on the march and actually go to Washington, D.C. Because it is an unfriendly environment that this country has made. And most of them are just thinking, if I just stay quiet, I just keep my head down, I don't make any waves, this will pass and they'll find a new minority and then they'll be off of us and we can just go right back to it. Muslims have been doing it in this country since long before the white man ever touched the shores, long before Christopher Columbus allegedly landed here, long before Marco Polo, and long before the Vikings ever tried to conquer this country. There are Muslims in this country. But now is not the time for us to continue with the old adage of just keep your head down, don't rock the boat, don't make any waves. Because in this day and age, and with the changing of the laws and the violation of the constitutional rights that will eventually affect every human being, every American citizen, regardless of their faith, then we're going to be in a really bad position for us as Muslims in this country. So it's important for us to stay focused. We're fighting for rights, we're marching for our civil rights and our protection. That we're asking our Commander-in-Chief, our President of the United States, to fulfill this promise. Give us a live feed of Congress in session. Give us the ability to actually be able to comment and be able to actually have an input into the actual day-to-day legislation of Congress. Give us actual access, the same access that lobbyists have that won't cost us $5,000 a plate.
Thank you so much.
These are the things that he promised us.
Thank you so much. I'm going to a little bit moving forward, and thank you so much, Isa. And this is Ampec Radio, and you are joining our community conversation. This is a great opportunity for the Muslim Americans and immigrant Americans that we are standing for the rights of the human being, for the rights of the people, and for the rights of all the Muslims. And this is not just right of the Muslim. Like, as we are the citizen of this country, it is our rights, and we have the opportunity to stand. So we are standing up, and I know